if you were doing like a college football show, you were talking about Deion Sanders this summer. You were talking about the Colorado Buffaloes football program that won one game last year that has not, been great. In the 90s, Colorado had good teams or whatever, but it's been a while since Colorado's popped nationally. And just that alone, if Deion would have, there's still a lot of football left to be played, but if you win 3 games this year, he's already kind of won or already kind of like done what he's been hired to do, which is just like reinvigorate the program, right? Isn't that like a fair?
Yes, 100%. I mean, they won within weeks after hiring Coach Prime. Like the merch sales were off the charts. They sell out the spring game. Like I remember reading an article a couple of weeks ago that was like the Coach Prime experiment will be a failure in Boulder, and I was like, you're missing the point. It was already successful. Like if Coach Prime took a job to go coach the 49ers tomorrow, we would look back at the Coach Prime era in Colorado and say that was a success.
Right. Which is wild to say because he's only won one game. So I guess after now that you've seen the team on the field, how have your expectations changed, and have your expectations changed? And if they have, how have they changed? For enough about the hype, just like what this team can be, what this Colorado Buffaloes team can be between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, it's funny because, people that know me will tell you, like, I am the single most optimistic person about Colorado football that there will ever be. And, even through the darkest of times, I was like, maybe we can find a way to 6. Like, I'm seeing the path. And what's crazy about so far with Coach Prime is like every single thing he's done has exceeded, I think, even the highest of expectations that happen, at least within the fan base, like the true fan base. It's like, okay, we know he's going to be able to recruit. Oh, he goes and gets the #1 transfer portal class. It's like, oh, wow, he's really recruiting, everything he's done. So like we did our show, the last show before the season started. And I was like, I think like I see this team going 6-6. And I felt like that was very optimistic at the time. And now you look at that and it's like, well, somehow they're already ranked number 22 in the country, and like 6 wins almost feels low. So like it's a constant sliding scale where now that I've seen the product on the field, honestly, from a football standpoint, I'm just like, okay, well, they're going to be able to score with just about anyone. That offense is high powered. They've got speed. They obviously have the quarterback. They have issues. Like it's not like they're a perfect team. I think there's going to be some teams that run the ball on them, and maybe if the pass rush gets cooking on the other side, it might make things tough. But we're talking about, a Pac-12 that has a lot of good teams and a lot of good quarterbacks. But I don't see powerhouse other than Utah is obviously, a different breed, I think, in the Pac-12. And then you have USC with Caleb Williams, who is kind of a similar team to Colorado in that they have all the offensive explosion and problems on defense. So now as I look through it, I'm like, okay, I don't think there's a single game that you completely count them out of after what you saw from an offensive standpoint from them. And I'm starting to feel like 6 it might be low.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, right? And it's also funny how weirdly that's enough. Like just having a team. I imagine once you've watched a 1-11 team, and I went to the Colorado USC game last year, and I think Colorado like hung around for a little while, but yeah. Boy, that was, they were a bad football team, and they, even like just watch. It always cracks me up when you watch like a team that's not a good football team warming up versus a team that's not good, and just like it's night and day how big and fast. And football is one of those sports where, but basketball though, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
But football is like what I call the airport test, Ryan, where you could just watch 2 football teams walk through an airport and you can point out the better football team immediately. And that's how I felt watching Colorado and USC last year. I was like, yeah, that team that looks like a high school team compared to those guys. But now that we're here, just going into a game every single week and thinking we have a chance, that I imagine that's all you really need. And that's kind of where I'm at with it as a guy who doesn't care one way or another if Colorado wins, is I imagine that if you play USC and Oregon coming up here, you lose both of those games, say, like I still think you're coming out of that saying we're fine for the rest of the season, which I imagine for you that's all you really could have dreamed of in year one of the Coach Prime era.
100%. And it's so funny because, Coach Prime has all these supporters everywhere, and he also has like all these haters who can't stand the guy. And throughout the offseason, they're saying like all this hype just to win 3 games, or like some people said like LOL, they're only going to go 6-6. Like, calm down. I'm like, bro, if they go 6-6, I will be crying. Like, I'll actually shed tears when they win the 6th game to clinch bowl eligibility. Like, you don't understand where we've come from. So yeah, I mean, I bet you if you ask a lot of Colorado fans, we have, Nebraska this week and Colorado State next week. They'll tell you if you beat Nebraska and you beat Colorado State, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And obviously the expectations are going to expand after that, and people are going to want more and more and more, as they always do. But like you said, like, just the fact that they're relevant, they're exciting, they have like legitimate playmakers who make it exciting to tune in every week is more than enough.